The Americans seem to be absolute that something happens in the next couple of days, but didn't they say that last week? We all know what the consequences are because we can start to see it in the Bowsers here in Australia and no doubt the same in the UK. What's your thoughts on what's happening there?
Well, look, I mean, it's the first time in 70 years that Europe has been on the verge of what could be a really quite big war. We had the Balkan conflict 30 years ago, but this is potentially very, very serious. My view is this, and it's not a popular one amongst politicians in the West and amongst much of mainstream media, but it's this. Ever since the Berlin Wall fell, we've had 30 years of the European Union and NATO expanding ever further eastwards without any thought of how a paranoid Russia would respond to it. And by the way, I'm not a cheerleader for Putin, but I'm explaining that Russia, through its history, is paranoid about being encircled, about being invaded. And I think that for NATO to say, oh, if Ukraine wants to join, that's great, I think it's absolutely crazy. Ukraine is a bitterly divided, deeply corrupt country, offers nothing to the NATO partnership whatsoever. And frankly, I would say to Putin right now, okay, your key demand that the Ukraine doesn't join NATO, we're going to meet that demand. And therefore, your cause for war, your righteous indignation is removed. Stand down your troops. If we did that, I genuinely think we would stop a war and end 30 years of a big geopolitical mistake. I mean, think about it. If Ukraine joins NATO, that's rather like the Cuban Missile Crisis in reverse. As I say, I don't like Mr Putin very much, but you've got to understand how Russia feels about this.
Yeah, good point. And this is the thing, as that has ever grown, the buffer shrinks and the buffer, in this case, becomes one country on top of paranoid Russia. I think that's a great insight and why we love talking to you. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you.